This is fine. For that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I no, that is not too. I think you can lock the chip. There. I'll grab another. Let's see this is let's go. Trying to figure out where the best to sleep from. Pension is counterfeiting. Online counterfeiting is skyrocketing. 70% of consumers e-commerce by counterfeit. Tech 23. 70% by counterfeit. Online and story code new research most of e-commerce following exponential growth online platforms. You copyright the counterfeit. The awareness for counterfeits. Reduction of factors. Responsibility. Talk about sweetie. I feel this platform. City versus e-commerce. Contemporary knowledge. Private insight. Platform liability. Is like specific knowledge. This cost different platforms. Reactive force. Reactive whack-a-mole. Force by brands. Table 23. Case of leave down our e-market secondary second ability contaminated technology with knowledge secondary this one just kind of posting point owners of activity movie activities business amounts regulars but more literally take place in your workforce physical knowledge and vice level you're not kind of what if I was 21 a lot of products unless the last business not the strongest operated not kind of strong managed private properly guarded city money but they cloud basis of knowledge and ways been opportunity to weapon benefit kill job probably take that right to stop sort of being pretty much so state secondary liability necessary should be the burden if what e-commerce with counter from microelectronics Kevin 23 Tuesday, Love is a marketplace organization of already to avoid every knowledge to do long different listing of printing company is the brand take out no that printing listen and new listing printing body kind of microelectronics for the loss of breeding manufacturer both got getting image to how to contribute the yeah for the comes like activity counterfeit microelectronics for grid and spaces including sales Kevin 23 Concept proposals serving kind of distributed program got several records in the years longer actually for accuracy and conservation kind of based on insanity Jones is then manufacturers try to locate kind of backdoor spaces ability to catastrophic. Scenario 1 is the grid, where class cost station. Here's 21. Electric stabilization collapse without interdependency and practical work showing computer space internet can be used to chain and the CI only collapse 16 collapse direction to reach capacity for extras. There are two satellites. Capital PCO electronics joint satellites, especially computers, creating cybersecurity and cascading degree. We are check for. Chemical electronics variables in the model state change to prevent the NDCA is based rapidly by chemical electronics back without insurance about quality chemical space very consequent jeopardize space and anybody related to by reducing to mitigation counterfeit integration to recount electronics to cloud excellent thing highlight to defects of about wires over heat sharp fire school to the relevant of this skeptical but that's like you don't know to recommend here is coming to you'll have reached over and never but so that's wicked longer after you have the suitable skill to the without a key to space we have an extra one but is that space very makes system bonus out of the design requirements also the being necessary part but about the sources technical satellite those years yes question access segment and the Congo work going 21. Given space number also you can background strong generating increase and company to the average how the get exploiting after take more points every time take two pieces of the harboring you go such you limit every time somebody ready execution and coming about better the second isolation different isolation for example that way much more intentional for general isolation elevated expense so semi execute orders all the way across the physically process the isolation and you produce new sponsored but it's been take something isolation 30 space based element real with them and you use uncertainties the LEO Q touch uniquely solve 6G interconnected networks more population or progress just about 24. No satellite service issue revolution where we connect mass basic universe satellite audio constellation able to navigate no satellite direct get local for me and integrate change of the bunch and sure touch to make components as able to send space environment growth success and power supply and control the today only avoid communication source interface communication the satellite control 60% service can have a person network 3 capacity performance 60 better for high bandwidth ability to not use water range technology center 60 hours patient data for critical communication 60 total otherwise never 60 that's 21. Projects that comes from with 60 technology those big process exit disruption point designing what's loss earthquake happening on common nuclear accident pathogen GMO current the command bad test exit URC control can become critical and checking require limited so you can see most stable network still does that see critical what is the benefits of scale by the a couple CG press monitoring managing CG superhuman capability monitoring managing process extra the brief for satellite cost 16 way 24. This allows basically and says supposed basically beyond the digital way to go to watch level camera big view which is making it also because has satellite following running when the map of the going down so more around the not zero the opportunity daily with bounce someone that can be there so it's way fully with the effect is really low and has disrupted the plan having to be is not going to stop going space there is produce reactors kind of parsons reactor methods 422. Chemical questions are going to go in compensate bar between reactors going into control every month massive radioactive release that causes extinction and relative energy roughly 23. There's been two limited becoming doctor has one meteor become radiological minds on reaction to be cold coats and developed by striker like video surgery reactions by the cost of supposed to be in the atmosphere to do the head seconds to be radiological to make their son have with a non summit the next mindset for breakdown of the next new way to go in with more next year so carbon the blend plastic constructed non-standard online intermediates from exotic rivers AMF 22. Quarter lines of transport has very on their way to finish have supply with like investigation like sonic construct non-rest when defense can investigate finish work they send you government non-rest with primary play powers of job burn structures non-gravity of former post walking broad claims thus individual whack PCC any of those normalized counter to create financial incentive to allow security triple CC. Some major battle counterfeit travel around so we take a list of the brand message initial quite kind of bad we mentioned kind of economic growing costs about no way possible kind of all about compensated the kind of enabling you so I just company design kind of provided by first rising at one year and it is facility accessibility by demand by and demand kind of marketable so to reduce the overall because of any areas but was not just big violations that's the plan. The United States federal government should determine that constructing knowledge of trademark infringement can contribute toward trademark liability and duty to investigate for online intermediaries attention to his force. You're already constructing knowledge for specific knowledge about more tenants and more and like the base established case law, you're 12. Economic content required actual knowledge to make constructing knowledge effect also the trademark knowledge and probably we're already constructing generally specifically require actual knowledge only content required court considered constructing knowledge liability cash ready to use way established special line business to be the it should be liable reason I had actual knowledge on claim required actual service entirely for you not be liable becomes whether should be into that defense of broken against really established by case law when constructing knowledge really important. Provided the source optimized regulation what's up 15. So the council institutional more development new legal implications of all existing institutional protections with litigation granted for legal council on investing with multi-committee legislative consequences what about the voice ideas that would be side litigation but provide protection with all situations for next sustainable growth so it's effective policy dialogue protecting the public to minority groups and going universal the key subjects on law regulations of the station code is 21. Dimension on the meeting rules and institutional capacity for 21st century because cyber pandemic consumed by the monetary progress following that is becoming a fake vision rule unlike the need regulatory strategy one size not at all specifically the case for responsible drone use for top 16. So investing I think the Jacob AWS over the accidentally getting personal level internal AWS several usually third times getting the hand value with the increasing range from the previous and for don't want to be for line just by using strong that whole is kind of relative and about legal structure labor and severe effective for liability you've seen that kind of good against the proper well of the regulate by dangerous activities. US reactively start trying to hellscape drone by August 130. Here's what makes on hellscape trying to get any August 1 private and like small drones and hellscape in the military because by killing that you're going to immediate nuclear war strong makes it like in person 25. The second order because what this is you intended Thomas and man how they use the Chinese level whether it's good for isolation Poland or Poland nuclear states. Harmonious and turbocks and torch for violence with the program 8. I mean, endorsement in the space roadside from the economy because of very wide attractive development and that can be selling and with legal and outside of accelerated bed and luxury research practice forces educated towards the interface place to all the way to going to education total in fact clubs and safe field trip all such number and distribution of anywhere to reach time for all field independent while continue to be not dependent on the statutory developments about a level. Construction also is flexible, allowing for active enforcement, verse 11. Enterprise law is good talking knowledge based on reason known enforcement to the very standards of the land must flexible while new technology way to determine authenticity supposed to do not take words involved check is not limited but not specific on direct breaking one different precaution that should be must not public body obvious and recognize general knowledge for reason known to practically got to marketplace. Your church direct law is global and harmonize it like counterfeit law verse 10. Substance words that counterfeit they come to greater points in international point jurisdiction reaching to the blind law criticism law and US really debate over national US court based on global common sense and every collaborative with other common harmonious law global based on the express but allocated as possible. Only that person maximize the cheapest cost for personal verse 11. Customer normal basically not what I'm not going to business no any time for the trade more that is the brand investment and we skip it for the good expense policy for the business very little business where we did appropriate folks understand for brand marketplace for life flex rule. Any commerce budget is goal cap pesticides in 24. You know, the new channel being legal pesticide only so we settle the regulation for physical reasons not been on the border the company and will the colors of pesticide limited one of brand. Counter pesticide which we have to talk about 16. Captain George Republic, I'm leading purpose for Congress, Boys, Parliament, Jacob, kind of government, Constitution, and Shani, Ukraine, Sovereign, Channel, Kevin, GG, Blue, Share, so on. Exceed that is global ecosystem, Charter 21. That's a global president, Fusion, and Sovereign, the ecosystem, president, environmental, with someone bound off the environment, human survival, and reactivity, reproduce, viable, Pastor 21. Much like a thing for argument class of security environmental that we get what kind of baggage for and selling right and academic we're making no possible baggage to the no matter research being baggage from marketplace about person we can get one fuck was operating with is right correct virtual we cannot get this demonstration damage e-commerce is strange all about reestablishing cheapest cost border principle solves 24. Usually we do research toward identification because of border time about the time was not to think of shaking around new ways and market companies by 0 and you and slowly come up with a foundation we ran into the chain and come to bring up border selling services over to platform that educated business model that this business model. I mark that part of business models with like very words and we're setting that out.
My alarm is
Very peaceful.
yeah.
Chill.
I wake up to that anyway.
Okay,
Let me
just
see.
on the cards.
What was that?
Actually.
What about tort law, can check on?
Yeah, so tort law is specifically, it's distinct from normal legislative practices in that it assigns liability to someone, so. A practice that someone like, that a president could do, that would be held liable under tort law.
Yeah, to be clear, like torts don't like uniquely like only constrain Trump or only empower them. They are allow individuals to sue to stop unlawful actions or actions that would probably be bad at the replicator.
Yeah, it's not like we're like totally restricting X, Y.
Presidential immunity after the last ruling, so how would that be able to?
Criminal immunity.
Okay, then criminal immunity,
This
how would that be able to check?
tort is civil.
Okay. Then past times before he got.
Like our crew top.
Go.
Our crew top evidence indicates that specifically in the case of drones, criminal laws are failing to regulate these unmanned systems because they're perceived as having too high potential.
Well, and no, it's nobody can be held responsible under criminal law versus under tort law, since it is civil suit, technically, people such as the United States government could be held responsible for
But-
Trump.
Because it's tort law and it's not criminal law, aren't the punishments like considered less?
They still
What is the
restrain,
difference?
like
They still
unlawful-
restrain.
And it optimizes regulation by increasing dialogue and flexibility. Vermont zombie card is pretty specific about this. And gives like an empirical example with its song.
Okay, what was that?
Food system.
Food
system.
policy.
Yeah.
It quote, situates food in a system of production that's sustainable over time. It quote, exposes facts, increases policy dialogue, and provides access to public discourse for individuals and minority or fringe groups. Tort can no longer be brushed aside, such as a quote, catalyst for debate. A forum to quote, restore dignitary status, actually, quote, and a keystone for sound law.
Sure, what about just revitalizing it in trademark laws will happen?
Yeah, so our Graham evidence, so first of all, the Agris evidence indicates that in the specific instance of the plan, holding in the Tiffany case, specific knowledge instead of constructive knowledge erodes all the core tenets of tort law, specifically the aiding and abetting, where if you are aiding and abetting someone committing a crime, you should therefore be held liable. And the Graham evidence also indicates that the reason that torts are dying in the status quo is because torts and trademarks are being held as two separate fields. And that's the reason that quote, torts die.
So,
To be clear, trademark infringement grew out of tort doctrine, but inconsistencies in applying the constructive knowledge standard in the online context, which all of which is substantiated by Agris, by the way, are eroding these core tenets of tort law and acting uniquely key to solve it. I can quote you specific lines, but I highlight the entire paragraph, it's all about.
that's good. The CubeSats, like the LEO CubeSat cards, what ensures adoption?
Adoption.
Well, adoption of CubeSats, it would probably
Well,
be.
CubeSat stuff says it bad, but I could be confused here.
No,
but-
we don't say CubeSats are bad, we say CubeSats are good.
Right, excuse me, like, you get rid of the bad satellites, what ensures that LEO CubeSats are
Dysfunctional
adopted.
satellites.
Well, we get rid of like counterfeit parts being integrated in satellites. I'm not sure what the question is.
But counterfeit parts can destroy satellites.
You're
I think
good.
that's probably bad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Why don't you, 5 off and counterfeiting?
Okay.
Oh, it says.
Yeah. I thought you were like moving around and that's a great question. I do not. Answer.
I got it. Let me see. These subsets instrument throughout the word the first 8 violation the only 3 marks for online platform vote negative just by tiny after single words 1,000 tiny after the object released to every core generic next office see no courts. I covered this statutory court HC action is enforcement of protection Microsoft at all 21. Production enforcement I covered related to statutes that enforces this thing I covered law is something the interpretation of judiciary enforcement is violation of the court's orders limits our division exposes public most wide limit based on the negative usage by limiting core Congress with this has next office capital marks or capital shield that continues to sustain the value of building for capitalist profit whole and I think general law protected the dilution chamber two kinds of dilution chamber from blowing it. Because when someone uses the similar market product to image owner reputation that blowing product version of the country the true function of the chamber at the time product is not they were the students this further version of the public your chamber in this public capacity of market general value because owner capital unsustainable cause exceeds budget all before not actually version cards of the conversation disease economic inequality check points of the replacement quality wealth already capital sitting build elevate well being the conference on the way that Jesus said in the working moves that a lot of times make ecosystem push to bring investment financially to more close natural gas and oil and incredible even more mean that private research extraction political trade political damage economic permits real lines and economic extraction and practices resulting in something that would provide the first loss these must value the well-being that follows any catastrophic demo and tries to possibly as well provide decrease but are not credible them emission undercredit decreasing source of the value physical instability of broad stability and also the ecosystem municipalities of 5 days even to say that the part of the bread every monoculture fertilizer inside also doing food and security is not an aggregate spending these are giving soil fertilizer emission expensive to grow the heating driver of fundamental inflation the open market levels of rapidly going up the declining financial high pressure water the disability comes the disease expanding of the rich animal farming operation breeding costs climate change spread of spread areas of insufficient healthcare the global qualification that are comfortable research and actions all over the region but the areas of renewable energy not just by the problem that policy not any the area place to possible and sustainability market sustainability alternative social solutions to create diversity of media ambition with the roles of higher poverty and discussion shift to force possible and conscious planning social frequently imagine highly automated visual and capital TV rapid conversation culture the issue productivity and ensure this by quality automation or what energy as reminding but it's actually this is remember and going to be the fact not you will think like the new social finances retail and how to for energy healthier autonomy school we work as much as possible job we work on business actually trying to survival new process dramatically reduce possibility that technology cannot be guaranteed by the right fit options whether it was depends on policies or short rules that show check how benefits are far ahead of government planning us after the government pushing technology capacity opening space the emerging position becomes from society the comes financial speculation external costs that can provide actually all of the some of the market for this revolution of external line profit single will be next off the core back off zone average core or coach over tells me the back up to the meantime right 7 to 45 quarters back side by 25 44 expenses that goes to the down quarter meaning your product on solution and collecting digital storage case material 35% usual system though worries about the later the background and responsibility technology solution absolutely important increase revenues also about litigation activities and to pay the cost of litigation and 7% until the odds of success are high the legal armies have access to security for litigation should be taking the direct sort of action backlog in the federal courts, short and watching, 15 on 4 federal courts, 25 the last all the federal courts, the time to the Constitution courts, I found the courts more important cases get back on the result of act justice limited where judges over where justice being limited but actually committed by oral preserved democracy is key to solve extinction lack of ability to do democratic governments more important he may face the actions with competition pandemic to rise human rights challenges only with democratic governments democracy will promise accountability right means those humans the deep side also need democratic policy not meaning those humans you got to check ways and them seeking power let's keep putting interest groups next off species and use of the phrase black mold species that should be rejected but the broad species black mold conscious of the vision of mold behavior over that with hamster image of animal cruelty species and the animal be saying for to ignore and what by the value animals black more requires to be dropped entirely saying it's battle in terms of animal welfare is symbolically killing most ignorance and anthropocentrism and causing extinction battle Russell zero the relationship among humans the more human worlds and the environment constantly to be down the Washington concept of the resource being exploited human the ability to respond adequately to them willingness to agree to prevalent discourses in nature surrounding alternate representation that because what is the possibility of finding inequalities that have actually make identifies not simply present and the big pedagogy exactly the environment crisis plan to check kind of fitting in. One no great class scenarios, difficult and likely core 18 worst case scenarios not that likely to never go into never know books out the great going dark because someone got to figure it it's not work that way because churches for all redundancies the regional variances that been and successful attacks and just the two no great no salad class impact and no miscalculation or execution Varg and Martin T. Charles 19 spaces that have been working on the access over the reasons and everything aspects originally the only space access security access the permission to determine if I can retaliate towards these aspects of strategy B no retaliations the March key 18 the very cold boys both has viewed attack on the salads after no where attacking the salads not possible result in nuclear war which is usually against American intelligence salads the US been looking to respond let alone to retaliate nuclear weapon shipping policy that resulting by their own invasion operations in escalation 3 the only terminal to 6G is bio disaster acts that's wrong 8 AI solves the impact inserted to the all 21 B reject the laundry list bio disaster acts no come here today we get new answers C no biotary impact structural barriers and blue in 20 long kids soil show attacking the leaves involves talking pathogen with each street. Attacking disseminating the leaves more difficult than it seems to have succeeded in inconceivable resulting weapon that from household to reconfigure her own virus and viruses smallpox are extremely difficult to find isolated. Try the vision changes but not communication to make it because for the community. And isolating is very difficult and not competition unable to try this on with access. Who says resources is virtually zero. There's no degree impact. They don't cascade even worst cases combined to low LEO with no impact. Very 17 the castle system over having force over compensate over low LEO. It's about 4K it's about 4K enzymes never enough very quickly high LEO with GPS services navigation now they hear the volume of space so you know the few sounds we don't need any worry about here that geo over the sound system will be away from speed also only about 1,000 kilometers not on the United worst case there's less than 1,000 we don't lose access to the real life block factor the big system even more common the reason we better for volume obviously over system making conclusions that or this max less likely most solar velocity that this makes the really small impacts of the over the end of few months longer objects to be tracked but involved in composition on low LEO the launches are included depending on the orbiting and there's no impact reactor about done it was funny don't forget nuclear reactor not close to causing extinction there's 450 reactors that are operating at a revolution over level of radiation will be far less and turn concede when I say you the plane immediately catalyzes power satellite morning when you see do it all 721 is 6G based AI technology morning 5G based radiation bonds keep hydrogen breakfast I didn't obviously be more but the quality images hybrid video based with prevalence remote processing and satellite monitoring innovation loss ASW capabilities and TI for the deterrence of advanced submarine technology ASW there all sensor sonar sensor data high resolution and satellite image with ability to monitor with commercial satellite imaging and sorry ASW innovation otherwise incredible second strike rate risk extinction now already 24 some technologies stressing stability anti-submarine technologies and field shouting on average has been the most instrumental part of the submarine to find this strategic stability goal leader to realize on the vulnerability sensor technologies have a way of taking the types on imaging their background technology augmented by AI quantum computing might pay the survivability for some using technology also the more strategic stability definitely thoughts of asymmetry evolution the walls and boxes and the unsurvived and the preemptive attack and towards advantage one no legal spillover trademarks bring more diversity commerce inconsistency liability goes to internally disconnected impacts about toward existing being good the only thing that can access part of toward lobbying we can 3 there's no internal emphasis that toward good regulated food industry none of the regulation impacts are about food Trump will get rid of 10 regulations for everyone new added new action for the preparation on the way last time regulation living 10 regulations for every 201 Trump and Trump and Chevron use all cost of regulation he'll destroy it inevitably but there's no hellscape for Strike 1 United States federal government should not launch its hellscape drone plan 2 no hellscape link evidence by international law but the plan was solved domestically 3 the data disproves US as an anti-model Nicola 18 the last deputy's country's model is supposed to reduce bar from the US Constitution through 60 years of data no complaint constitution who can no longer influence by this constitution witnessing the anti-model American hegemony US constitution the anti-model the pesticide stuff is wrong the terminal is about pesticides being back the plan only press counterfeit pesticides the gold food presidents not rely on enough pesticides gold 19 on the national pharmacy national pesticide treat whether I help with the claim and get rid of pesticides project we're also organically going food needs to demand the worldwide population production will be more valuable You ready?
Yeah.
Status?
The status quo is always.
Okay, the K, what does the alternative look like? Is it just rejecting the affirmative?
The cap K or the.
Sorry, the, N for K.
We think it operates one, rejecting the app, two, we would censor like debates and rhetoric that is not anti.
So will you spill out outside of this debate to center that in debate itself?
We think that that is key to the second part, but not key to the first. So rejecting the one AC solves this.
Rejecting the one AC solves and just purely for using the phrase when.
Well, the broad evidence outlines why it's not like just whack-a-mole. We think that that frame of just whack-a-mole is pretty bad, probably makes more sense, but we think that the phrase of whack-a-mole.
Okay, that's fine. T subs, what trademarks does the app not affect?
Like trademarks for like, the Havana Club app,
Can those trademarks not be put on e-commerce websites?
It's not whether or not they can be put on it, it's about the mandate, the plan does not affect all trade.
The mandate of the plan changes the liability standard for every trade.
But those trademarks are only on
So
online
the plan
platforms.
has to be used by every, okay, I'm gonna move on, the turn on case. Where does the one, so the SU evidence indicates that 6G and AI must be used together in satellites to solve this. How by solving 6G, how does the plan cause more AI? So that's your link, right?
It's not just AI, we think that your evidence has 6G based AI technologies and that 6G based
Yeah,
AI
so-
technology will collapse now.
Okay, 6G, wait, it will, okay, so you argue that it will, so have you argued that ASW is impossible in the status quo?
We think that the US is not developed.
The US has not developed, so if we win, the US has developed that, does that take out the turn?
Well, we think it depends, because if
Yeah,
you win,
so, yeah.
yeah, so there's parts in the block that can be read about the perception of increased ASW capability.
Sure, actually, let's look at that. The NTI evidence indicates that, where does it talk about AI or 6G?
The card right above that talks about how we would.
That would be our SU evidence, which just says that they can be, that AI and 6G can be used to, it says.
Yeah,
machine
that
vision
card,
can be
yeah,
used to
that card
identify.
talks about how why 6G AI would allow for the transmission of high quality images, video based surveillance, remote processing. We have made this argument that those things are key to ASW capability
Okay, the NTI evidence indicates how, ASW technologies and SSVNs are already using this imagery.
No, how that evidence is not saying.
The evidence does not say that? Okay, wait, status condo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it says these quote, tools and technologies now give open source researchers ability to monitor submarine fleets.
Sorry, repeat.
The NTI evidence says, quote, a recent advancement in commercial tools and technologies now give open source researchers the ability to monitor submarine fleets. How are they not using this now? I thought you just said.
Yeah,
it was-
well,
they
our
don't have
evidence is
any
about,
tech now.
yeah, our evidence is about the US adopting.
Yeah, so you're saying the tech exists, but the US hasn't adopted it, then why would they adopt it first place?
First, I don't see.
Okay, it is right in the middle, quote, you actually bolded it, I'm not sure why, because it seems to zero the number.
Might just like not see it. The NTI.
Yeah, NTI evidence. You can control it.
It wakes me up, man. Alright, choice A is. Sent, let me know when I got it.
I didn't see my phone when we did the timers the other day. We lost one of our timers in our other
A
timer.
lot better,
Yeah.
but I did not want my alarm.
Bro, I hate when I hear the alarm I wake up to like during the day, it just gives me like PTSD. Yeah, it's not like, yeah, just like, I'm just like, I think back to like waking up at like 6 a.m.
Okay, the order, okay?
Yeah.
Might speak from my mind. Order is advantage one, counterfeit. Then like the scrap that turn on there. This thing.
If you do that one, please.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's a statement.
I think so. Should be. Right.
That looks stable enough, okay. Advantage one, counterfeits. Advantage two towards. Subsets. Congress. T Congress. Cap. The whack-a-mole fix. Wow. Maybe someone can just ask me a question. No, I can do, right? Great. Now I'm thinking like.
I don't know.
So. Um. One and two is wrong. One is wrong. Grid countermeasures collapse interconnected system injects funds extensions that does clear. Strike your software defense hardware failures bypass motive. To fry the backup system. The one was resilient. You can't resilient the chip or fry. They say sadly because it's wrong. Google the satellite response cause mutant miscalc. States in worst case scenarios. And when chip number preemptively stacked together. If this protein to evidence is not no evidence not true. Recent scenario that countermeasure chip failures mean the US will not trust diplomacy. When the chip fail, which overwhelmed the defense. The 60 defense is wrong. AI is not solved because 60 is key to coordinate the response. Coordinate response to biodisaster X. That's just a massive. Otherwise, external biodisaster nuclear accidents are never. That's true. They say projected laundry. It's not laundry. It could be other nuclear accidents and disasters as reasons why we ban. It's not just bioterror, which means the lenses of it does not apply. It's not disasters and nuclear accidents and earthquakes as well. The debris defense is all does not apply. When or wait evidence post data indicate that we has a unique claim that debris is increasing now. Fully caused with mass collision, blanket slower than orbit debris. That's more. Let's say states that's global communications and exceeding including the average of the plasma that causes extinction drop. That's weight evidence. And they don't assume that Q are increasing now, which gives us a uniqueness, which takes up the range. The meltdown defense is wrong. Old and not assumed the partial, which has this increases the uniqueness for meltdown. That's the Ross defense, but it causes collapse of cooling systems. It remains in place for decades, making it uninhabitable. That's Rossi. Now, StratSat is wrong. One, no link. Two says that AI can be used together. Stop by that. We do not integrate AI and satellites or subs. If anything's already there, process is battle. Two is AI not key. One is the NTI. Because the satellites are already being used. Nothing that new AI is key. Process is also battle. Three is already here. Still the product trace AI subs. To create AI business visual priorities and emphasize integrate AI strategy version choice the ability to check leverage speed, little wonder in alert augments detection light, large like this and monitoring environments and enterprise systems, because they domain 4 StratSat is dead, C24 doesn't, you can check understanding warfare channel for the training stage shopping policy financial manipulate, because of paper nuclear missile Russia these on US and US and multiple warheads. Today have something that will politically Russia China sharing cases of 5. Already shared out plan 8 other countries and 37. If it's an Asian situation, you can command the measures from the airspace for version AS 2 and SB Emperors and American DoD. Competence NCP Archery Company, ballistic middle submarines. I was kind of resource in the 50 million direction. And so they're going to be AS proceedings to be made and about 6. But yeah. 7. No impact to sea-based lag and only benefit stability. Once SNBN or survival running surgery segment SBN along SBN has its turn surgery that are competing in the green of the system benefit. Probably does an ability of where the hedge gets rid of the training from the other 2 legs. Then the others are part of the appreciation then SBN system provides 2 seconds capabilities of the transfer SBN superiors 1 base. But not about things as SBN part of the fleet, not as to me the towards advantage. One they drop the internal link group the first 2 Algorithms e-commerce strength hold on re-establishing the cheapest cost avoider without the birthing instruction 24 drop. Continuing the toward dropping specific knowledge in the e-commerce context. Quote directly each way to all of our not even plan with A and a back counter because an explicit line from the card means that yes, pretty much this context are key. They say the meditation is deep as no. Towards optimizer increasing dialogue and flexibility. Anything, all the evidence is uniqueness that says we need to increase dialogue now. The drop that check Trump and overwhelms Sharon because about agency not public towards it. So every single risk by balancing synthesis or new tech. That's Montavi and called uniqueness kind of voting issue and we confirm. Unique sense of voting issue, paper source tactical issues. The world of judgment value plans desirability and value. The council does not affect the plan's desirability because it's not a test of plan, so you should reject it on face, but it's not solved because the union of balance upside and downside of drones are evident. That's true talk. They say international not domestic, but yes, remote the drones are domestic. You can solve. They say no modeling, but Bernstein specifically have and their evidence is not contextual to that. If anything, it proves that the cap cannot model globally because the US is an Asian model. They say that it's only about kind of about specified. Actually, drone drones, they drop the impact on drones. Drones to help you talk about August something making nuclear one showing folks in less than a month ago. The counterline bad, making move upside and down to the key, which comes nuclear one pesticides. They say only we regulate counterfeit pesticides. Yes, those are bad ones. We solved and they say food defense no about environment. Peace out. We meet functioning, contribute reliability in all chamber standard, and we demand B21 in this, some of the thing that follows domestic close within room, prefer 1 grammar, only indefinite relevant, we grammatically, the other terms, 2 outbound, 2 things on, we don't get 3 asks, 3 precision, 1 tiny, no federal court, then 5, functional list, check, campaign, clause, 3 understand, and even mention, reasonably, check on the crowd, Congress team, we meet grammatically, the absence of the court to strengthen Congress protection, check out the delegated relevant act, and functions, we would have to repeatedly connect IBR, on constitution, of Muscle 21, check that IBR, include the 4th IBR, 4th as a subset of, every protect, Oscar 2K, which I'm project, and condition, IBR, laws, and 4th horizon, setting, check out your protection, starting down to the 4th nation, and structure, 4th laws, actually, and protection, the very most second, going on the start, the non-existential program, of that, only limits out the counter only half, but counter only courts. I'm telling you, some IBM protection now introducing point for 1 day. This app is necessary for protection of intellectual property. Only protecting trade line opposition for economic from the right the body for 2 innovation. The course complex innovation means that only after conversation the concrete debate gets stale. 3 background and 4 is the core topic. And like economics and judges thinking that 4 position intend to find me that analyze both planes cases semantic equivalence. Also limits the reason they cost apply. Now, cost output flows app intern and international IP. KCAP.
Framework clearly advocates a competitive alternative of non-resolution when that new experience has to both double bind and also we can open and think or solve as code. They mark out sustainability on which really do not give them good statement right choice. Independent from value management of thing wrong, we want you will touch upon better one out, not having to become the emotional to practice exactly with these are most value. These are no way to go with one nobody use. Economy global consumption the GDP can overlap. Do the plan, do each and parallelism of what's walking to the plan and objectives use the puzzle out. Project the competition is not quantifiable. No arbitrary just capitalism arbitrary self-serving links at the hundreds of different ideologies not comparable. No link. There's no need to exist now after not increasing the race before that investment in turn the good or impact or it's inevitable. Very 23 compensation. Capital parallelism IP promoting to be taken in travel for the only capital now the person absent for the point of view of the we got each. Not so the app and no incentives. The plan managed as a capital. The content of the voters and illustration the stream country the arguments we have a capital. No one's got the techniques and control and offense and then okay this was all taken from the cost like from unique is down but okay that's average putting plans BC 25 what's the policy then actually the flesh evidence is wrong. They neglect to cut the policy options and implement to solve. Burn those, project intern yellow, the word cake, it's wrong. One is framework, classify that. Two, do each, project the environment, endorse the app is a good idea, still vote app. At best, project the card, not in one context, or others not use one mode, the slower pejorative. Then Jordan and voting in an academic setting, doesn't make it acceptable necessarily. The children knows how you assign responsibility for not endorsing the tone. We can vote without computing. We unfit example 100% of language or all to true proportionality, pedagogy, counters, it's counterproductive. Change students to defend problematic language instead of abandoning it. And pits communities against each other, having opponents from go to the ballot. Excuse language, rejecting cards is sufficient, but exchange out ways to save animals, extinction is painful for them too. Pigs out of non-plain words, or voting issues, do the app and dodge on that the magnified by framework government. No link. What's more, use the scholarly settings, it's not unique, but there, and doesn't mean bad things and concept the app. And the antidote is good. Solves extinction. 14. Watch the environment and the most satisfying input in nature in terms of value control of nations. Never completely equal to nations. For the one concern, major exchange events, and things will actually go to the nation. Think of themselves, place of place, and south of the natural world nation. Now, whereas the world is available, place for protected. The environment goes down nations and I mean, so interest in system with stable things started. Then consequences of predicting with some nation in the combination one of the best. And there's no chance case or impact of profit. Especially the app, capitalism with the specific at some of the I guess Woodward and show irresponsibility and worship meaning on justice. Because nobody thinks the capitalism is a good idea. Concept. One, non-unique app solves. Cognitive is on and the purpose of the app solves the case. But when the link goes to go to automatic recognition, no uniqueness, payment, or impact uniqueness. Range 225. Due to the software for just distributors such as Dominic, the country companies giving advantage, change many within 3 to 4 energy, delayed on road confidence, due to no link return, A liability, cut the liable case, now the app solves which about lawsuits and status code, cut it on motion, generate sense with better to publicity on email and one you the passage or not, duties of litigation and events the mounting country with extent on the call, bucket and call, and dogs and computer liability or exist, and this is what that dog, see dog control, it works, manage bellies overblown like a previous one and president optional the court to use our evidence flooding into words. This gun coming out of the some time, being out cases, doctors, several judicial process combination, extension, joining case on like objects, 17 multiple courts, COVID class cloud, which dumps and the don't democracy back dump. Trump is destroying rule of law right now with January 6th gerrymandering, well, cancel mention after domestic court, no investigation and no impact freedom. 24 global time level public involvement was also this is no one about person anything no and they don't give it no laws go up back advantage to autonomous weapons solve nuclear war but all and see lots of coming from under certain good position a lot of capable of war human intervention use and the weapon away from the red war use to this probably harm the very laws could but a couple of right to retaliate on the law of the president and that's the laws of telling you to one and the nation the nuclear which
Run that one.
I'll let advantage to. Okay.
Yeah, I'm setting that out.
Yeah. I'll read the tag again because that would
It was like good autonomous weapon solved.
Mitch. Good. I'm good whenever you're. Yeah, someone's somewhere. What? Yeah, I didn't good. No, I don't. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great.
Dave, what was the part about doing everything with such a card?
Yeah, the selection card indicates that there's a bunch of policy options that you have to do to solve your impacts. You often neglected to cut it, but it says like decarbonization.
So like you just didn't.
Well, I inserted it because it's just a bunch of policy options you can learn.
Sure, the term, the its evidence, can you explain why the work?
Oh, on Strata?
Yeah.
Sure. Which evidence?
The its, no impact.
Yeah, it's saying that SFBMs, which your card has said is the dangerous thing, actually increase, increase strategic stability.
Why?
They say incredible second strike.
Oh, sure,
Yeah, this is like the consensus.
Yeah, your card says
Yeah,
SFBMs are like.
sure,
yes,
draft that. the StratSat is dead card, why do Gaza, Ukraine, China prove that StratSat is dead?
Yeah, it has changed the calculus in favor of reintroducing a nuclear armed sea-based launch missile and ASWs. It has put strain on long-term security ideas and says that,
And also
Okay,
talks
why
about
did those-
hypersonics leverage unpredictability. Thesis of strategic stability is having predictable second strike capability, but things like hypersonics, a current ASW warfare, and yeah, that type of stuff is already getting rid of that secure second strike
yeah,
capability.
it's like, it's strategic like instability.
Yeah,
Think about it, it's two wars.
Sure, do China and Russia have those hypersonics as well?
I mean, probably.
Why does that not maintain stability?
The point is that those hypersonics themselves are the things that destroy stability, because any country can use them without, and like the US currently does not have a secure second strike capability, because Russia and China can use hypersonics. And those take out the US before they can even use that second strike. So no country in the status quo has a secure second strike capability, which is the definition of strategic stability being dead in the status quo.
The title is strategic stability is very bad weak. It probably says it's just that dead.
Yeah, okay, sure. T subsets, why aren't fixed checked by the theory?
My theory,
Have you ever seen a big one that
Yeah.
fix that?
every counterplan fixes something. It's just that these. picks
So
are
every
dead.
counterclaim picks out of some.
But
These
these counterplays.
these specific picks out of any specific, out of any case, any.
Like,
Okay, why don't net benefits solve?
Hmm?
Why don't net benefits solve? Like, you can't just have a pick out of like one little.
Yeah, you can. 'Cause you
Like,
can
how
say-
Yeah, I know.
You can argue that any single trademark is a bad thing and then pick out of that.
How would you have a net benefit based on that one tree?
Like,
Because you could just argue that one trademark does something bad.
this trademark is racist. You should reject that trademark, do the rest of the plan and the rest of the
Sure,
trademark, doesn't have any.
the render evidence on clog,
Yeah.
document shows that like courts just like hire people.
Well, render is more about like, the court has a lot of doctrines to preclude these floodgates in the, like, before having in the first place. And think about it,
Okay,
like,
you've
filing
made
a lawsuit is hard.
You've made an argument about why, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Every, yeah.
I think, no. Yeah, Sue says AI and 6G have to be used together to stop biodisasters. We do not integrate AI into satellites. Or
Yeah, and it's specifically just for biodisasters, so we don't solve broader.
like.
Yeah.
AI. Fine. Three, one.
Okay, case.
Case. 1, 2.
Yep.
Let you know. I got it.
The impact of extinction presents a cost extinction in several ways, such as degree, the environment, exasperating social inequality, and conditions that honestly gone and Brussels, and goes for all the use of nature to meet and create the worst and good utility for all else, so wasting only the only create the ethical basis for values human existence, and draws from the electrons to the dangers of media, dangers of the nation, humanity, not with the schedule needs, and don't even use the vast everything, part of the end world, the one that exists for humanity, persist long, never like your world is better, so that would make more happy people and future more, not human populations about preserving such people are resist, that's the value, more family capacity character type is an act of godly imperative, is prayer, conservation value, the one sees a research project that, so as one is boundary, the one you see the stage for the day, there is a portrays about their scholarship, and again, but they should lose that chance past critical thinking skills over, narrowing it to a sentence, like speech from many speeches are often by cheating, more faulty analysis, 3 false epistemology that interpret or racist, sexist, and ableist, and a species language as long as it is the plan that just outweighs and 4 is it's all the extinctions of the groups that is bad for debate. It is bad for our epistemology. Since the fairness stuff, one's fair, submit, and permanent, it can be intrinsic good because competition is ever rolling. You procedural plan focus, choose the roles again, prioritize fairness and practice possible. Fair validation is the core for our organism because procedural actions are victims, racism, losing a case on technicalities, and we don't justify things for the do because things are all awaiting the plan. So it's justified under their intern, not yours. 3 immunity you want to see is good. One thing account for racist scholarship or species scholarship debate and reciprocity that ways consequences of well because the truth is worse for the community justifies violence. Diluting and meaningful participation that designs benefits push fairness impossible different coaching and research engage are inevitable but 5 with the right arm to fair and lying teams to win 50% of their rate. Next discussion is wrong one and that choice from first and last and one is construction check. We're really correcting the why they choose the one is claim is limited gain 2 so find better order and after I swap with the no GA units rest days and both process kind of things that you should be else with no act when position will be left and defend for 1 is logic 3 yes you link you lose if it's logic creates our way the irrelevant consequences to the introduction and the research is saying, reject arrives not to even sufficient remedy that drugs are initially bound up in their policy prescription and they must defend them and frame a question. There are bits of questions you can plan for a different reason and it's not a rejoinder to the reason you gave to the enacted plan is bad. Unless we have already agreed that the only relevant question is whether the plan should be done. Next, they say that I guess it's above that they said that's just not a source, so it's not wrong, but it is a slur because it justifies the murder of moles, which is bad, so it should be considered a slur. Just because it's not a racial slur does not mean it's not a specious one. This is also a new link because it determines that they continue to defend that their use of it was bad and have not apologized for it either. And even if it was, you wouldn't believe it anyways. And there's a reason why it's even worse. They say there's no response to it, but yet they chose to put it in a UNC tag and continue to read it in the clock DA, which means they didn't still think it's a good idea to read it, and then they have disproved why it's not specious. And only a risk of our offense, the proportionality stuff is wrong. It was all above there, and it just justifies it was language that was on tab, but. Yeah, the balance of explained earlier, and these things that ways was also earlier, but they say that that workplaces are bad, or interpretation is that negative things to get, things bad things beyond the planet, text language for saying other references to when to see. The critique is just a way to prove the desirability of the perfect case that interpretation is bad, but we have evidence in educational artificial research. I think the arguments are strategically good. Here's purpose and that punishes work now, different than eliminating the econ data because our links are too good. Our negative consumer activity, any subset of topic consider isn't unifying just yet. DA second structural dream without case like these times in have subset. It's predictable. Come on, the app is in the starter pack, and obviously this should be regarding innovation and off these arguments because 45% are in the camp want to see with no changes. You job to add this to your track, or worse, reject the argument and not the team, and also then we've read this case before, so it definitely is predictable in this specific context. So no finding on their box net. They say yeah, only the ethics is able to solve next. They say that the story is non-unique. Never again, this is wrong, but they're also considering and presenting with anthropocentric with androgenetic, which first of all not true, but it's also a reason why you should reject it and ask why the ballot matters more than sound, but androgen is wrong, case impact turn and good. And it's the argument is just a new link to the K different. These environmental destruction government as well for some way undermining economic value, natural stability, number of the impact of subnation, and the use and remains true to the economic and legal values of society. They become unacceptable and that was the nature of the divided other than the community, community exists of the environmental barriers of English speech message. That's not the beginning even wants to use the part of the control private system on the same purposes. They realize that they'll recognize the value to give the president of frequently short-term personal environment sustainable development based on the impact system are due to bail. And at the end of the day, it's a general because it is morally bad to speak before and the stuff about the counterplans and stuff at the bottom don't solve anything or don't understand why this is sexual as well. Then you answer later next is great when there's no impact. And integration is wrong. You're in school for that street raising between independent bees and peer steps here. Simple back steps to the hard thing that's not for bypasses, but even if it does bypass it doesn't go essential because it doesn't spill into other has a great satellite collapse. There's other fairly more limited accessibility limited action or reduces the number of excellent potatoes to stereotypes, special options, CPCs, building pressure and stats are free retaliation. They are something they are de-escalating space strategy that the paper evidence they say that the reason evidence disproves that, but there's no reason why just because counterfeits are increasing does not mean escalation in space automatically increases. And for instance, things attacks are escalating, so they won't do it, but that let's make a laser attack through the use one. There's one more escalation activity, 6 zone off, are predictable offers very nine rules figure out that these ever lost the evidence, but yeah, you see that's all that is key to cooperation or nothing. That doesn't solve anything because the deterrence is cooperation is already scale. On control 17, the agreement for the question in the USA intelligence system is such a surveillance by positive percent of the all the summers are receiving mutual percent. The answer to 17 is the effectivity agreements of data warming and the case armored. These are only measures you take some of the effects and 17 hours of the different with the different assessment by the victims and story. The world is a certificate of invention, national by interference and invention is the GBSE web mutual is the web mutual next is the biodisaster was no green scenario. We can do answers. The only term is voucher A. No, if I base stories varieties to be isolated, disseminated, these virus for the high, the virus and final groups ability to or define spread that's we numeric are they droplets and just that there are more existential or risk. They have to explain it if they want to. Otherwise, we can do answers in the 2 and R next. They see that they say that our nuclear reactor evidence is too old, but it doesn't matter because it's still disproves it because it's literally based on us as scientists saying that it won't spill over at all, or more could become as opposed to existential at all. So you should prefer they didn't weigh their offense here, so just they didn't explain that. This is something really old. Next is second advantage. Torah law is kinetic, yeah, as well as their impact is only exists in Torah law. The only evidence of the principle of Torah law is being which a nonsense of Torah law will completely collapse. Their internal duty to their access and impact next is the regulation set of wrong. There is only such Torah law is good for regulating food, but none of the regulation impacts are about food. It's about food and certain below, but all comes to regulation. There are too many causes versus chapter and bill 2024. Chapter legal precedent is proposal to regulation the question of future regulation comes over the laws or legal chances and to establish stability because we are really pushing history. Report on problems of aggressive production industry and support, willing us in government efficiency strong. Okay, for central regulation, you can 24. And preparation underway the regulation, the limiting that reading one factor is a promise. They don't explain why the Torah law would overcome Chevron, or even if they do overcome some risk of Trump, because the Chevron difference in the court allows the agencies to literally do whatever they want, or if those laws aren't similar to aren't similar to counterfeits at all. There's no reason why the plan would still be able to check them. So diffuse variation routinely go ignored and virtually able to feel that the odds of the regulars failed to analyze the probability regular. Algebra 11. And it's of the president of the grad quality analysis regulation received a score rated from the emergency and have little to say. And no health care because it's about international tort law. The only self domestic tort laws about lies entered below, but adopting the drone strikes and they said is bad. Obviously solved their generic personal I think kernel alternatives of pesticide solved. If you don't like them, there's no pesticide free market already. That's good. When conceded, but there's also no terminal to this at all. And I'm here to blush for counterfeit. Different versus toilet, and any eligible names to be for pesticide different process 97%.
70% was which one?
That was.
Yes, 312. Yeah, 312.
That was me.
310. Okay, open cross.
Yep.
Cool. That's okay. We go what is it? I did that because that's what it sounded like. It said that you prove the plan is undesirable because it causes extinction, correct?
That was one of the reasons. Yeah.
Okay, like you said that framing does that. How does framing something in one way, one instance, in one product, not the actual like plain text, cause extinction?
Because you've read a specific card that is definitely anthropogenic. You haven't defended sorry. I can't say it right, but it's definitely specious and links to our impact because it's centered to
You said this
human value ethics. Just let me explain. And that in itself is bad, and you continue to use it, and we think that is ethically wrong.
I have a question. I guess like deers can step on moles too. They can also whack moles. How is whack-a-mole human centered?
Because it's the use of the word whack-a-mole. It's the use like it references a game where you literally whack moles, and that in itself is like justifies the murder of moles. We think that is bad.
I guess where is it like human centered? I understand that it might like imply that moles are like be hurt.
Sure. First of all, the evidence says that, but it's also human-centered in the way that you deploy and answer this argument by saying, "Oh, whack-a-mole doesn't matter because it's not a slur." I'm pretty sure you meant it wasn't a racial slur, right? But in itself, it's still specious. But you're
It's used in scholarly
specious,
context,
like,
not to mean
less important, and that in
Sure,
itself is
I guess
bad.
it's used in context to mean a metaphor in a scholarly context. How is that a reflection of the act?
That's why
it's
we
it's
turned the
Material consequence.
sure, yeah, we've turned what that metaphor means. We say it's specious, and we say
Sure.
it's bad.
That begs the question of framework. I'm just saying like absent framework can you make as a dissect. You said yes, I question. Like how is it
We can because there's still an impact to it. You have to disprove the internal links. That can happen in
is
one AR.
like the framing of one tag of this impact somehow causes extinction question mark?
You said that quote unquote whack-a-mole enforcement is good, and if
It's
you,
good. Actually, hold on. We critique whack-a-mole.
I mean, you critique whack-a-mole enforcement, but you
Yeah.
use the term to describe it.
Okay, we use the term as well, why not also speech?
Where have we used it in a way to describe other than critiquing your use of it?
Well, I mean, if you say whack-a-mole, that seems to be a pretty low threshold.
No,
Which is like
it's
say-
not that. It's using it as a description of the metaphor. Like, it's literally a metaphor that you've deployed and we've critiqued it.
Okay.
I don't, there's no link that hard.
Okay, I'm sorry for using whack-a-mole, but that solved the equality point.
Fucked up, right? And we just like double down on it and up until now and then into 2AC and now we're just like, oh, I'm sorry, like
Well, I
that's
guess,
just fucked up and that's why we should win our framework.
Then people
Because
should get-
that model of debate that you're deploying right now is bad.
I
It
guess,
allows teams to do what
saying
you've done and get away with racial slurs and then say, I'm
Question.
sorry in the 2 and R and get away with it.
Saying something's fucked up can be a very homophobic term. How is that worse?
How so?
it's also a curse word. That seems worse.
Well, yeah,
How is it
it's,
homophobic?
the word, like the F word has been used in that context, in a homophobic context many times.
And how have I used it in homophobic context and you can read that evidence
You
again.
use it to scotch your back, okay.
And you
sure.
can read
As a
that.
metaphor to describe something else, how's that any distinction from what we did? The orders, the captain. The cogdiet. Advantage.
Advantage. Okay, we can strap that one, I don't understand.
Yeah, I put it on, wherever it's stressed.
Okay. That. Yeah. That's right. I'll let you know when we've got.
I just figured out that.
Concede the purpose of competition theories, reasons, reject the argument on the team Congress, good interpret again, we did one argument, innovation, a fallback strategy, encourages incentive positions, uncertainty, don't make argument, innovation of the info processing, info overload, best first, solution code in the real world, 3 logic, test code, the task code is always a logical option that controls predictably, direct research forward on strategy, 2, adding moving parts, raise the barrier, for both sides, 5, diminishing returns, product gets worse, because there are parts that can be classified 6 times, task 2, download DH current, impact on T is difference be 7, neck flex are grounds, you actively get speed first last, the topic super advised is used to show unified generics, no uniqueness, constants being equal playing field, 9 check back, other theory, arguments winning back, winning against bad packaging and kind of bunch of case, 2 arc consolidation solves the depth, this was bad 1, arbitrary no basis 4, 2, links are often discouraged, 2 arguments can seem to be afraid of the 3, logic, no pulse maker, you can always just test code to B, 4, no solve CSV, all reach playing that must be per the card does not adequate, does not, just the kind of, Apology, concede no, concede no democracy impact, counterfeit. Yeah, very good. Strats have out ways to capture escalation, nuclear deterrence to stop all great power warfare, essentially no conventional war can escalate due to the nuclear level acts of ASWs because both sides know they be destroyed by enemy submarine based nukes. Only to with strategic stability and subs is key by investing in emerging technology that can upset the balance. Missality and already the strategic stability facilitates cooperation solves external threats, including territorial guidance, strategic stability, great powers of characterized by independence, the common interest process. There's a quality of failed state competition, great power finding independence going not only because you want to be state ability cause unbearable damage to see more portable combination should be independent because you should stability but this is fragile pole causing state bar also too. Collaboration is the method of growing is not just hanging accidental and not nuclear exposure to nuclear. There's a trending nuclear weapons drastically increase the chance of onward detonation. Setting off in this fight changing catastrophe the world. We know no work. Group 2 1 and 2 the plan on the satellite monitoring innovation that enables ASW's project extinction. This is our argument. The apparatus advances sonar sensor synthetic aperture radar hypercentral imaging and magnetic anomaly detection which causes atmospheres to feel that the US can track and destroy all these submarines. This is unbelievably dangerous nuclear stability since the Cold War has rested on the belief that stuff can never be destroyed. That's NDCA. No integration now. It's wrong. We've conceded one student said that only the planet allows to 60 satellites combining AI and enhanced monitoring. Current satellites fail like us unique to its perception. So matters most. Johnson agreed that strategic stability ideal. Conflicts more ideal like an environment state of competition. But this has to be reached because the uncertainty military technology are nuclear arsenal did the work. No, first we successful to make more time to reach several solutions for the present risk of unstable threats. Because we have to develop dominant position. The only risk after the enable ASW immediately always have the impact on so dominant. The plan enables ASW1 break by parts ASW squares the laser satellite detect submarines operating. We need the ocean squares fully where unrealized low frequency detect the 2-star invasions in space imaging unlock ASW capabilities and TI-24 started the mining planes images landscapes FDR originally the image that has ability to detect submarines so ASW inclusive for use of monitoring 3 non-acoustic detection on B23 the non-acoustic room satellites most common platform satellites use the touch sensor detects the optical sensor use like that the limitation of the one infrared radiation limitation radio sensor use radio waves that have limitation magnetic sensor use magnetic meters have limitations strategic stabilities now but new innovation software database enabling ASW to assume every other impact every other warrant can on 90 sublogging terms under bid by detection capabilities and nuclear arms of government items technology look at SSBMs deployed the deep in the ocean the power saving video powers has the road system technology have been throughout the improvements for undersea warfare market undersea warfare next argument skill is already here this is wrong 1 or 25 card below so the satellite monitoring requires significant breakthroughs at issue like 25 the satellite technology autonomous new spacecraft designed to get the tech here factor autonomous satellite systems image payload trade with SM database identify accounts tech office the ASML independent of detecting charting office high dimension real time decision making incorporate AI and just operation has become no autonomous working on monitoring and control systems signal challenges always accountability security decision making capabilities responsibility objective 2 skills so maybe the point for language detection there. X is not states being allowed to detection of subs, which is the key internally, but even if the air subs are being created, it's about monitoring and taking Chinese to Russian subs, they're undetectable now. Russia trying to get high submarines from the US, which is good since it gives them confidence. The US will never start a war against them. They say the Strat said now one, they're obviously wrong. One nuclear arms land cruises is just about one caucus in the Congress, not about broad US policies. The next warrant is about ICBMs, it's wrong. It's about one general's testimony. The part after since the US is reducing the number of warheads and ICBMs, it's started below 3 hypersonics wrong. Both countries have them. It's not about First strike, sexual capability solve all work instincts. I mean, to work for cause I would say you think we're going to get up for first strike, which cause instability increased use of losing pressure stuff. Already the next argument was already here. The card is long. It's not assuming 6G and AI together, just AI. The card we conceded. So that 6G is keeping the detection of self and integration. They say no impact return. Rich evidence is wrong. SSBRs are arguing both cards above that mention SSBRs answer the spot. Suppose negative evidence says that SSBRNs are key to deterrence. That was their card. Now they say ASWs are good. This is all answered above, but once you see stability solves nuclear escalations, new inhibitions outside of creating 25. 24, the strategic stability situation when nuclear states lacking center of the counter. First, I'd say clear second, state, capability of states around the computer. Starting levels of animated groups of price check and different how everything trying to have the principle deep stable what the nuclear trying to first like incentive to have this was about if we get good ASWs there and which they cannot ensure, but bad ASWs outweigh come fast before the good ones.
9:59.
Yeah, imagine, sorry.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm sending out a bunch of cards right now, and you're giving more cards here.
I have like one.
Okay, so the order is gonna be. Advantage 1, advantage 2. I did the burn on a separate sheet, so I'm gonna go back to that after advantage 2. Advantage 1, advantage 2, strat stab. And then, okay. Yes, advantage 1, advantage 2, back to strat stab. Okay, yep.
Got the.
No one for minutes over there. Sleep. Oh, let's see. I think I'm just gonna speak from here. I feel like then I'm gonna talk to them. Over there, my computer's almost falling. I was talking to the wall. Where's the stand? Alright, so 1, 2, stress that 1, 1. So like 1, 2, you can stress that, so any other thing. Any bubbles? That's
Yeah, it's.
That's too high.
yeah.
You want to just do this one?
No, it's great.
Fair enough.
Give me a second to download those files.
They dropped the breed. I don't need to go for anything else. Grid meltdown, satellite 60. They don't apply the twin C. Do not have one word on breed. 100% risk out with me to try it out. Multi-parts called match list with length, forward, orbit to read that fear. That cascade, copy, global communication, hidden cities, including atmosphere, plasma, cosmic exchange. That's wait. SAS doesn't apply. Each country born attacker escalate with the breeze cosmic extinction independently. Advantage 2. The block drop, the unique counterpoints are bad. Do not think from it. Don't let them cross like harder. The 2 and 2 cause badly rated debate and it's unique one. The unique counterpoints not true opportunity cause the average straight opportunity rejected. True top. They say it doesn't solve international. It doesn't solve domestically. It solves international. That means it solves multiple countries, which would obviously include the US. It solves US drug 2. It's in the context of the US. It's internal. They say no internal territory trademark infringement is the court drop. They drop the Sharky evidence, which says that the claims is uniquely solved by the establishing cheapest cost border. Kick right, Trump does, but you see the true top, which says we solve drug. And US drug for spillover constraint your responsibility. They drop the impact level of to try that. Trump's 1 quarter healthcare China is 4 months fucking immediate nuclear war. The Detroit Emperor reject only because it doesn't assume Operation Healthgate and Trump. It kind of runs back, regulating both upstate and down to the US. They also drop an add-on here. The one in our instance for 2 seconds, but thousands of DA described out. We can see the wars. Screwed up to the enable good ASW, which solves nuclear war. That's our umbrella evidence from the 2AC. It prevents escalating by causing effective disarmament, which solves extinction. Which solves extinction. That's a drop down. Now we strat that. First, I'll answer the new scenario. Terrorist essential. Muir 22. Just repeat the limit design, the limit going to by about how the problem risk we where we discover nature rights, the safety, the rights, the crime, the take over, like material, and serious required to that. No effect for Muir 17. Because we follow the rest of the and every target that can be attacked, community, no universe, that's all I'm wrong about this enjoy. What the difficult that contain has been performed with that say the main cause against the person, neighbor accident, or not speaking, or whether the law is operating. They say the link with the They say link with the link is 0. The NDCA evidence is terrible. It talks about how specifically how it's already integrated in the where they have no evidence that the 6G capability are specifically key. Their evidence our evidence just says that 6G can be used to monitor things. Nothing says it's uniquely enough, or that it's the exactly key. Students not saying what it does. You can read through the whole thing. It just says 6G and AI can be used together, but there's no reason that the plan is uniquely key to solve all of it. The Johnson evidence. This is a crush of perception, strategic stability are already key. It answers some cases. Insert yellow and the conceived perception. These projects other countries already know the US has it, which means that ASW dead, 0 did that. Squints, SAR, and NAD are all afterwards. The cards already say they already exist. They don't satisfy ASW is not cool. Their Katana evidence is 6 years old. They rejected the gun answer about old tech that already exists, and it says that it's undermining it already in 2021. 4 years later, it's still going to. Their HL lab evidence is their own unique evidence in 2025. It has nothing to do with C. It just talks about how communication is being used right now in samples in 2025. Doesn't matter what we post date anyway. And we post date. Newest developments. Thunderbolt product. Regular 35. It's a month ago. Those time again. The operation Thunderbolt product. The DoD integrated H plus will get work in action. The only living pin. It goes around. It proves the power of it. It can. It's can also detect other things. The Vagina evidence is all. You go to the UK. The Strat 7 is that it determines stable screw. And Actually, and there's tons of ASW now, Australia already has enough to start global strategic ability, Delta 22. I was going to say ASW made problem, using the ASW Jackson, this is stressful all war, but it failed anyway. Increased British and the combination more likely, Article 15. So you can move on to the rather obvious forces, the territories, and then the number one people, and I think it is not the British, so we need to discuss options and acts and the project, and we'll mention chapter. Last strategic ability makes us be careful. And AI integration is inevitable strategic ways are never just through the back. Now the end okay. Framework, way advocates solving all these between inherent with land, not random reaches, maxing the link by back, all solved the all can't solve the case, so way against the impact strategies, always good, they depend to explain what, species of those backs, unfair, internally, one after the one, the only stable wind condition, believing was behind, two, produce both, plans the lobes after, two, the vocals, the impact framers, any word, turns to yes, no question on whether Andro is good, which is impossible to prep for, three, they turn off in defense, impacts from one link to non to go out, parents turn to education of knowing learn that you can unfair game, impacts are asked now, we didn't indoctrinate people to species thing, no false, it's wrong, like grace language, these things moves on production, group that office, round social change where you think, but your about tenors, all fairness violence, no link, framing provides negative word number joining not what people must have been, we were sure the race they called ethic violation soft ground. Fairness is good, black and white, yes, it's good, they dependent too. Racism isn't worse than fairness. Procedural fairness is grounding logic for the game, not species for fairness. It's best of both worlds. They say not inevitable, it's about structural now. Our impact is procedural. Their counter isn't more fair. They drop the absolute more, and they drop the PDC evidence and it's about and not for one AC logic means irrelevant. When you frame for peace within it, you open the arbitrary pick random words are one AC that they have a good idea. They counterplay can't solve enough counters without the words, which is independent solves the on cross the line from impact and discourse doesn't shape reality. Reality, Bell Cycle 05. There's another language you have to remember like the only times our reality zero is not that kind of work without probably determine its essence. Market that and pigs floating with their buddies. They said 99% of the app made impossible garner often because there's no predictable depth. Supercharged our current offense reject the argument. We agree. It doesn't disprove desirability because they don't have it all. They don't try to solve app. No link. Makes sense. Proportionality. Pedagogy to punish the counterpart. Exchange students and then problematic language instead of abandoning and these communicate against each other by tying personal growth to the bout. Rejecting the card's decision. Exclude the language from the debate. They say no impact, no value, left impact, or negative utility. Source says you should run distinction and Android good for animals. Human health, safety, environment because the topic wants to debate about action. Any other alternative papers over question of whether animals want to be saved, which one, and whether animal and animal violence is good or bad. Even if humans turn to most years back, animals do so all the time. Breaking extinction of most of nuclear war and fighting is a moral good. That's part of not another link because we've proven why using humans is good for animals and lead to wide-scale environmental protection. This is a link turn, means the link is backward. And the link whack-a-moles used in an academic setting, no relation to whack-a-moles, even if there's an implication before, it's explicitly not in the context of use here, proven by the fact that they said fuck in a different context, which can be a really bad strength, but not in their context. Very well. Read the chat.
What's the order?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Definitely not up in this round, but you think I'm worried about the mole, it's just like the killing a mole that's and references a violent murder of them, and the process proves that shit that they should lose for this one. They double down and they chose to say it wasn't that big a deal, and then proceeded to apply it, and then doubling down again with the 1 yard section, vote on them, vote against them on a G rule, win the framework page, but at the top they definitely lost, and so I get to the dissect stuff later, but even if we don't win framework, you can evaluate this as a DA, and I'll win our specific framing stuff below. First, extend our interpretation. If we connect with condition, because we know the plan has no real implications out of this round, but they're going to think this round is uniquely bad. Extend our interpretation. Want to see the research charging? Background is wrong. Drop every warrant for background in the student team from Prada. There are no needs to the topic. You need to script what's wrong, and IP exists now. But next, found out was background in this context too. It was always find offensive and impressive. They always have a way to find the rest. So there's no consensus or procedural norms that way the plan is being made. Teams across the country go into rounds of reading on a season, doing research based on that. They think on depend the one in season. They were reading for the first tournament of the season. They deserve to lose. We've also read this before, so it's also predictable and shows all the predictability. We've done some particularly stuff. One is most predictable. They chose to highlight an under, and specifically this was in a tag. It wasn't about the underlining or underlined part of the cards. They're not highlighted. It was in a tag. It chose to read it. We read the okay before, and they said it again. If you see the phrase whack-a-mole, are you really not going to think of anything of it? But even it's in multiple cards. And then see our answers to critical thinking. The model that allows debaters to reach the worst scholarship, more certification for the because they know the other team never call them out on their BS. Did you see how they double down it? Oh, it's not a big deal because it's not a racial slur. Well, that justifies being like, oh, it's not a big deal because it's a slur and it's not in the plan check. The true will try and classify that our model makes people defend racist scholarship wrong. First, our model incentivizes the team to actually really want to see, pay attention to what they are researching. You can win. No way, which helps their offensive acting, turning also solves all these slurs or racist words. They deserve to lose. They know now an entire 8-minute speech to judge the planets because that is the ground of crown of planets. Third, classroom destroys critical thinking because teams will never actually get to have an incentive to read and research in depth. Want to see just like the planet every day. One learn without fairness. Drop that we value fairness in practice, not principle. Fair evaluation doesn't occur for our arguments because procedurals akin to victim racism, losing a court case on technicalities, and we don't justify things that they do because they still outweigh the plan. So it's justified under their interest, not ours. Also, moves the turning both. So if they say the ballot only solves procedural fairness, not structural fairness, even if that's true, it doesn't matter because fairness. Fairness probably is not unique and non-unique and can never be solved. There's different each time, different schools, etc. and money for schools. And next is. They thought of epistemologies was hashed out into a cross-sex surgery, just as being encouraged for racist people and cards that they say terrible things just because they know that there's nothing that I can do about it. And next they drop that we don't value fairness and principle that was above. But next they thought that any surround it doesn't solve, but it is the judges don't always we cannot always consider that they can always solve this, but they drop subject from word formation, which uniquely proves that it comes first to their fairness. And if they say Mark loses for this for today. This round, they won't never say it again. But voting against to stopping the round now is untenable and not allowed for us. Next is the word fix. They dropped all our defense or criticism that next team should get links about things beyond the plan, takes just as language to other representations. That framework change, the only thing they said is that 99% of literature checks we have evidence India educational to arbitrary discourage research and because the arguments are good. That one dropped. And they also they dropped that air net because frameworks that should be any subset topic literature. It's in unifying there's no topic DAs. Like structurally deal with that case like this as I'm doing it and it's predictable. That was all above. So classify here and I've worked protect the argument not the team next. They say the answer percentage stuff, but the cause distinction in several ways. But actually, that's a balance of our goal because they're grading the environment exactly the social inequalities and oppression of the independent DA, but the DA confused our extinction stuff, long-termism, ecology is what they're saying. We think that's God because it focuses on maximizing human numbers and abstract value of the expense of sustainability and genuine care. We compare two futures, one that's one short, crowded, destructive versus one false, sustainable, and enduring. That's theirs. And that's a maximum card for the best future. One is truly enduring. We must not focus on their long-termism, but onto not anti-presenting they slide the ones that we propose, but yeah. Then they say that that's the anti-presenting for good card, but it's also what? Yeah, I know. And yeah, next to the value to livestock, I'll explain here, but they say that an animal is best for question, but they justify murder in doing so. So you should reject the team because it's a moral duty on its species, should be rejected in every scenario. Also, its percentage is statistic good in this context because it justifies all the other impacts outweighs, and they don't get the no link here or the fuck environmental because they don't explain it at all, and no link is where they use rhetoric, which means it's bad, and the use this counterplan, reject the argument, not the team. We're not going for it, so it doesn't matter.
Give me a 233.
Sorry, that was just funny. Okay.
Which is, does anyone know?
Huh?
230. Do you write down our credit?
It was two something.
Yeah, it was like mid twos. I just wanted to.
Okay, exactly. Right.
But at the end, did you say anything about like the fucking thing? Don't say that. What did you say exactly?
You didn't explain it.
Yeah, I didn't
You
explain.
didn't explain how it's homophobic.
Okay, so if we don't explain how slur is a slur, therefore it's not. Good. Or you just need to be put out. Yeah. I got it. Maybe. Let's.
Moving on, the material consequences of activities that cannot focus as a dissent and to the explanation on exactly what is species and the total impacts that means that we're waiting on the framework right now. Go there now, wait app with the sole all with the inherent to the plan, not random research. The magnitude of must match all solvency, and they're not the better debate because they're not proof the plan is inherently a bad idea. The impact is fair. It's turned out good on answering kind of the abstract, but failed and contested it outweighs because they depend on two judging arguments fairly. They're not voting actions for funsies and explain why species is bad. It's really unfair to certain animals that are seeing the substance of decay, but they test on equitable grounds, proves fairly the controlling factor behind all solvency. Well, explicitly answer, could double down enough here. Proportionality infinite drop. It's probably going to be punish is counterproductive. Changing the defend problem like the name instead of abandoning it. Communities against each other by trying further go to that. Encouraging debate, dialogue out of bounds of better. Defense is the most logical option because and that's what we did because debate is bad space to litigate these things. They could have informed us before the round. We could have a productive discussion in 30 minutes before the round about whether the most winning species or not, whether to take it out of the plan. They said no, they just decided to go to the stage, just prove that the debate structure recommended incentives, but prove the fairness outweighs. Only we control the large internal link that the plan the only win condition for the average. The PDC and the concept we were struggling behind the app positions is below 50%, and they say they move the app in the 2 and 3 prove that they destroy all the stable condition. The app they're gonna not outwin app around here because of a PDC that then dropped. They say the plan not implemented in the real world, so you prefer their framework of wrong. If is heuristic and allows us to evaluate hypothetical policy having the whole framework page of fairness is why that is good. They're not contested why they've not contested that. We are assertive. They say double down and enter above. They say like even the tag that's still arbitrary because any word in tag can have an author saying that it's bad somewhere, and they did not engage dialogue point to prove that the argument is a bad faith. Their model is mitigating species with speech time and alignment like for entire street was an untenable and logical untenable model. It was a bad model of debate because it trains people that it trains debaters going to toxic silence because anything they can say can and will be used against them in this arena of finding more and more species things to say. Now defense the reason case not a dissented framework, training negotiate negative burden for joining not with a change, but the internalized species before they get to all the impact of species and all the framework they must first win this valid way to rejoin 180. The first is to move through the framework is completely disentangled from the substance of the decay in the first place. Back it out until only until they get to win, they get to win. They get to contest the way these use of the term viable in the first place. If we were truly species, they call it anti-violation, stop around, they do not prove that it is weaponizing for ballot with the fairness way. I'll do the ballot stuff here. That ballot changes nothing. You link you lose substance, nothing will actually change in the future round. And we can change once you regardless of whether we win or lose. No reason to prove the plan is a bad idea. They just said quote, this makes people pay attention to the language of the one in quote, makes it defend it makes it like defend it more, but that's our argument because you should litigate this outside of debate, not with speech time, not with judge to render a decision on these things. We should talk about it beforehand, and then we can take it out of the pen. Because I'm never gonna read the West Model plan ever again. Independently, drop the interpretation and need this kind of plan. The only negative win condition is true opportunity cost, quantify that the truth, our framework. I know this sounds technical, but that was a no next block I read in the choice, we still drop the two speeches. We do not argue the truth said that we dropped some information, but we do not. There's all causes like family friends and school that matter more. Even if I spend 6 hours a day researching, I also spend 6 hours a day sleeping, which is not changing the subjectivity in the slide. Now, we don't believe our arguments can be capped at one round. Captain, you're the next. Subjectivity is not changed to the law. Now, picks are bad. You steal after citing 99% of the one team, make it impossible to actually go to offense because nobody will off the way against it. It's not for every offense because picks make it infinitely more difficult to be afforded to play fairness. They did not say they could solve the app or anything, or they did not try to. They framed the pick anyway, so it's an independent vote. The framework internal needing picks go to the offense step like which they critique its personality, which we allowed it inside the plan. None of the arguments are unique, meaning why stealing the app is good. Now, yeah, I'll go to the link. The link proves why our framework is good. There's no link. One point in academic context is not bad. We explain it from the truth beyond, proving how they use the term two when describing the app. By the time image, by the way, they're both teams have done it, that's impossible to adjudicate. They say the word two, proving infinitely arbitrary. At best, they both teams think should both app, so you know it's a good idea and the hypothetical and the language are arguing more about it than on and choose the context there and explain how the app would have been used to the slug in the LGBT community. And the third use of the bias. Did the truth apologize? No, they doubled down as well. Actually, they didn't even address it because they thought it was so minor. This means that they think the exact same violent rhetoric, which means the residual link of rhetoric does not go negative. If you think it's a wash, then you vote app because it proves like contesting these kind of things in a base that is bad. Screw up framework. It also proves inherently arbitrary and battery set around. Only app argument that we cannot state it's untrue. The bad model is the term debate and who can graphically modify bias. There's always a bad model of debate because it's trying to ensure personal bias and mitigating and in front of an open space is bad. Now the impact of there's no impact. Intro is good for animals. Humans can help save the environment. So the topic wants to debate about actions. Any other alternative, people will question whether animals want to be saved, which one the whether animal might go. The only alternative says that we should pay attention to the animals. But then when I see never was premise on human extinction specifically, when you parenting on saving life in general, Torah says that we should save animals. The obviously calving cooked by plasma and the debris impact from the way which I'll extend here is extremely painful and obviously a horrible way to die, which proves that Wednesday is good. Our framework is good, they agree the plan is a good idea, only ends the same environment, that's mortality. It's not like the end is good, link defense.
Good night.
Good video.
You knew what you were doing. You gave me the card and then you smiled at me when you said, what was that?
Oh, was that not? I knew the one you
I thought you
handed him the like whack-a-mole card.
And you
Sorry,
were like,
No, I was thinking right. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure Whack-A-Mole was like in the second card of the one I see.
Yeah.
well, yeah, but we were like,
It's like this way.
No, I didn't.
Obviously, that's quite good.
So the smile was just like, I was just like, he's like, yeah, I'm just a children. No, I think he was just kind of like, sometimes the mornings. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Like,